Hello all, hope I am audible. So today we are going to discuss about Playwright test automation tool. We will cover the contents of why Playwright, Playwright features, compatibility, comparison with Selenium, the market leading automation tool for now, Playwright architecture, auto weighting, assertions, locator, trace viewer, events, isolation and installation steps. So let's start without any delay. The first content is why Playwright. So before we start automating our test cases, we decide like which tool to choose. And so there the question comes, why Playwright? Because we have other tools like Selenium, WebDriver, IO, and so many others. So Playwright basically addresses the common problems that we faced during our test automation. So Playwright is faster. It supports all the major browsers. It is reliable and promises to be non-flaky. What is flakiness? So flakiness is, say for example, I have 100 test cases to execute and I see that around 5-6 test cases fails in a batch run. And when I investigate, I find that these failures are not related to any application issue. So I cannot log any bug. At the same time, I do not have any issue with my script as well. So this UI test fails because there may be some change in the DOM content, or there may be some element which got detached, or maybe other issues that happened, and our existing automation waiting strategy was not capable enough to handle those. But Playwright comes with a beautiful auto wait facilities, so we need not worry about the synchronization. It will automatically take care. We will discuss about that as well. Playwright comes with an ecosystem of some powerful tools. For example, code gen to generate code, trace viewer where we can see the report completely step by step what happened at the time of a particular page when it was loaded, which were the API request calls that happened behind, and everything related to that. Also, Playwright comes with a Playwright inspector which we can use to identify the locators from the web page directly. Playwright also has advanced locator strategies, and it can perform activities like network interception. For example, I want to stop one API call. For example, I have one API, get API, and I want to stop it whenever the page automatically requests it. We can achieve these using Playwright. And Playwright is event driven. So there are a lot of supports for different events. Again, we will discuss that as well. Playwright can be integrated with AI tool, for example, Zero Step, and performance tool, example, Artillery. And also Playwright testing service is recently launched by Microsoft. So CI/CD can be easily achieved without doing much using Playwright testing service. Another reason Playwright is very famous is that Playwright is being managed by Microsoft. So they will be pushing new features as and when those will be ready. So we can use those standalone features and latest features using Playwright. So with this, let's move to the next topic, Playwright features. So what features does Playwright offer? So Playwright has a record and playback using code generate tool. So we can record and playback. So there are other tools also where we can record and playback seamlessly. But here with Playwright, it is a more stable version of that recording, and we can reuse maybe 80% or 90% of that generated code, unlike the other tools where we need to do a lot of customization, mainly because of the synchronization issues. Here, as the synchronization is automatically handled by Playwright, so we can directly use the record and playback tool that is offered by CodeGen. And then we have trace viewer, which we discussed briefly, and auto weighting. So auto weighting, we will talk about it. Then Playwright has inbuilt assertions. So if you are familiar with other tools, for example, Selenium, there it is just for the automation part. The assertion part we need to take care using other libraries, for example, test engine Java. So there the assertions are not supported. We just need to perform those actions and write our own assertions. Playwright comes up with a large set of assertions already, which we can directly use without writing much code. In JavaScript language binding, Playwright supports visual testing as well. And Playwright is not supporting the mobile automation at this moment, but we can emulate. For example, if we know a device, for example Apple iPhone, which has a size, for example X height and Y width, we can emulate that and see the web responsiveness of our websites using Playwright. Playwright can be integrated with Selenium grid, which will be used to distribute our test cases. So, and Playwright is, remember, not only UI automation tool, we can achieve API testing as well. So when we do in Java world, we use REST assured. In C Sharp world, we use REST Sharp to achieve the API testing part, which Selenium does not support. But here, API testing is also supported by Playwright. We can authenticate, intercept request and response. We can reuse the signed state. So these are some advanced features that we can do using Playwright with writing very minimum amount of code. Playwright supports event. For example, we want to download a file. So in Selenium world, we will just click and have our own code to see if the download happened or not. But in Playwright, it supports that event completely. So we need not write any complex logic. We will just use the Playwright code to see the download has happened or not. Playwright has custom selector engine. We can create our own type of custom selectors. And Playwright supports record of video of test execution. So if we are executing test case and it failed, then what we generally do, we generally re-execute it to see where it failed and try to understand. But here we can record video without any plugin or anything. We can just record the video of the test case, and there are options to record only when the test case fails. So these advanced features are present in Playwright. So after the feature, coming to the compatibility. So Playwright supports all modern rendering engines, including Chromium, WebKit, and Firefox. So Chromium, on top of Chromium engine, Chrome and Edge both are built. So these two are supported. And WebKit is Safari, and Firefox also supported. So these are the browsers. So major browsers available in the market today, all are supported by Playwright. It supports Windows, Linux, and Mac. Remember, Solaris is not supported, which Selenium supports. And it can be integrated with CI/CD, for example, Docker, Selenium Grid, etc. Native mobile emulation of Google Chrome for Android and mobile Safari is also possible. Playwright supports various languages: Python, Java, C Sharp, JavaScript, and TypeScript. So this is the overall compatibility of Playwright. Now we will try to understand the comparison with Selenium. Why Selenium? Because Selenium can be used as a benchmark, as it is the market leading tool. And I will mention some features that both Playwright and Selenium are having, but some like, or one of those are having. But I will try to compare this. First one,
Hey, hi
Playwright.
there.
Yeah. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, are you sharing any screen or I couldn't able to see and the same query has been by different audience in the chat?
Let me share.
Yeah,
Please let me know if you can see my screen.
yeah, that we could see now.
Okay, great. So this is a comparison. So I'm sorry, I forgot to share, but this was like why Playwright. I have already mentioned this and explained this. So now coming to comparison with Selenium. So speed, Selenium, Playwright promises to be faster, and I will try to explain why. Auto waiting is another feature that Playwright has and Selenium does not. Again, I will go there in details and explain why. So supported browsers, I already explained. So Selenium supports, so all the modern browsers are supported by both Playwright and Selenium. IE is the only one that is not supported by Playwright, but IE is more or less obsolete these days. OS only Solaris is the extra operating system that Selenium supports, but mainly in our day-to-day automation, we have seen that Windows, Linux and Mac, these are the main supported operating system used. Mobile device execution, Selenium can be used with APM, so and to execute mobile test cases. But here we have only emulation support. Languages, language support, Selenium has Ruby, Perl, PHP, so these are not supported by Playwright, but majorly today Python, JavaScript, TypeScript, .NET, Java, these are the majorly used language and all are supported by Playwright. So documentation and support and community. So as we know, Selenium is there for a long time, so it is naturally having more documentation over the internet, more support and community. Playwright is comparatively new, so it has less, but when we have some issue, we can directly post in their channel and their GitHub repo, and they will respond. So those are covered. So open source, yes, both are open source, no pricing. And reports, in terms of reports, we need to integrate maybe extent report or alio report with Selenium to get the reports, but here Playwright supports HTML report. It has HTML report inbuilt, traces, video, these are all there. And anyway, we can also integrate extent report or alio report with Playwright as well, so that is also covered. Web element interactions can be flaky with Selenium, but here in Playwright it is reliable, and I will try to explain in the next slides why. This is very important Playwright architecture, and we need to understand this to see why it is promising to be non-flaky and faster. So Selenium, if you can see in the right side of the screen, this is the client server architecture that Playwright uses, and the left side the Selenium uses. So Selenium relies on HTTP connection from 4.0. So what it does, it has language binding, and that language binding calls REST APIs to the driver servers, and then it gets the response and the connection is terminated. So what happens is that the entire connection is request, response, and connection termination. For the next request, it is another request, another like handshake, another new connection and response, and after that it is terminated. So what I mean to say is, for example, I have a test case in Selenium where I want to click one button, and then I want to edit some text box. So for each of these actions, there will be separate HTTP connection created, and after the action is done, the connection will be terminated. So there is one overhead for creating connection each time for a different action, which Playwright
Sorry,
eliminates.
your
Playwright
slide.
uses WebSocket connection in place of HTTP connection. So what happens here is that there will be a request and then one handshake, and the connection will be bidirectional and will still be alive. So there will not be new connection request and termination every time. Once the channel is established, that WebSocket channel will be used for all the subsequent requests. So WebSocket is bidirectional communication protocol, just like HTTP. It is bidirectional, that can send the data from client to server and from server to client by reusing the established connection channel. So this WebSocket channel can be reused, unlike the HTTP. So, and it is stateful and remains alive till the entire period of connection. So either client or server can disconnect. So this is how the overhead is gone. So it becomes faster. And as there is a dedicated channel, the flakiness is minimized. Moving on to the next. Here,
Sorry, your
it is,
slides are not getting updated.
sorry.
We see just the comparison slides. Your slides are not updated.
Oh, you see the comparison slide?
Yeah.
I am trying to reshare. Can you see now?
Can you make it full screen, because we see just half of that.
Okay.
I mean, in presentation mode, can you put your slides in presentation mode?
You were able to see now?
Yeah, this is better. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to the next one, auto waiting. So this is a new feature introduced by Playwright. So what happens with Selenium? So we have to write our own logic to get the synchronization part managed. But here, what happens is that, so say if I want to click on a button, so before even clicking the button, Playwright performs some checks. So it has some intelligence built in, and before performing the action, it will do those. So for example, if I am trying to click, then it will check if that element is attached in the DOM, if the element is visible, if the element is stable, if the element is able to receive events and enabled. So we generally write all these codes in our Selenium to find that it is actually able to click or not, and then we click. If we do not do that synchronization management, it will fail. But here Playwright comes up with all these, and it has a matrix for all the actions, most of the actions. So where it will check these common or required steps before performing it. So this is something unique in Playwright. So that's why it is less flaky again. And for example, for click, it will check the element is attached to the DOM, element is visible, it is stable enough, it is able to receive events and enabled. So these will be automatically done, and based on our default timeout, it will wait for this time and check all these are successful, and then only it will click. So there will be no flakiness, or the most of the flakiness part will be eliminated. And we can force, there are options, if we actually do not want to perform this checks, we can also do that. So that is configurable at the same time. So coming to next, assertions. So Playwright comes with a lot of built-in assertions, so which we do not have in Selenium, and it supports soft asserts. It can be it has the polling facility for those asserts. We can retry, and there are non-retrying asserts as well. So these are readily available, and most of the commonly used asserts are already taken care of by Playwright. Playwright support the screenshot, or like, for example, if I want to do a visual validations, so those assertions are also present. The API assertions are also present, and definitely UI assertions are there. So this assertions are also having inbuilt intelligence, just like auto waiting. So it will not just fail blindly. So before failing, it will check the required steps and identify that yes, the assertion is ready to be tested, and then only it will pass or fail. Coming to the next one, locators. So in our traditional automation tools, we have seen CSS and XPath. These are the majorly used locator, along with ID, name, all those. But here Playwright supports CSS and XPath definitely, and it also supports different modern locators. It has something called area locator, and which is basically from the accessibility testing perspective, and it supports to locate element in the shadow DOM seamlessly. It can be located by substring of a string or a regular expression, and it has pseudo classes like visible text, so we can use this to have efficient and like better locator strategy. So when I say efficient, it means that, say for example, I need to check an element is visible or not. What I do, I will go there and find the element and then see it is displayed or not. Here I can do the both step in a same one single step using this colon visible pseudo class. So something like this is possible. Locators, so for example, when I have fetched a lot of web element in a list or some other data structure, I can filter that seamlessly using Playwright. The right, left, above, all those positional locators are also supported here. And we can have, for example, chaining of locators, parent selectors also. So there are two major issues when we deal with CSS locators in other tools like Selenium. The first one is we cannot do with text. So we have to identify the locator and then go for the text validation. But here we can directly get the element back from the web page using text. That is one problem solved. Second is we cannot go upwards. For example, we have identified one element. Unlike XPath, CSS cannot go upwards. So from child to parent to grandparent, in that way it cannot. But in Playwright, using Playwright parent selector, we can again solve that as well. So next is trace viewer. So trace viewer is a kind of timeline of the entire execution recorded. So what happens when we execute a test case and it fails? So our natural way of addressing it is, maybe we go to reports, we see the screenshot where it is failed, and we try to simulate that failure again in our local, and to get ensured that yes, it is some issue in the application, and then we log a bug. And when we log a bug, we take the screenshot and other details. Here, Playwright addresses the problem, and it comes up with something called trace viewer. So if my screen is visible to you, I am just showing one example. So here you can see this is a trace viewer, and when a particular action is done, for example, you go to one web page or click on some button, entire timeline is recorded. For example, how the browser was behaving at that time, which were the network requests and responses, the console of the browser window, the logs, the errors, everything. So this will be in a zip file created automatically with minimum code. So when we are done with our test execution, we can directly take this file, attach in our bug, and submit to the developer. He will have every information. Maybe you have seen in real life. So developers will come, say, tell me how was this, if there was any JavaScript error, what was the network API request and responses. You do not need to worry now, because Playwright will solve that, and it will create a zip file. You need to just directly attach there. There is a tool called trace viewer. You need to open that, and you get the entire timeline, and that includes screenshot as well. So next one I will discuss is events. So I know most of you must have faced it in other automation tools. Say, for example, when there is one alert appears, and you know the alert will appear, then you need to write a code to check the alert appears, and say the alert appeared, and then you will perform OK or dismiss or whatever. But what if the alert does not appear? Your test script will fail, right? Here in Playwright, as it is event driven, it knows how to handle alerts. So I can configure, whenever one alert will appear, just click OK or dismiss button. Okay. Now I have no worry now. In whichever location of my script any alert appears, it will just click on our pre-configured activity, maybe OK or dismiss or whatever. So that issue of the alert will not appear or appear, wait for it, if it does not appear, do that, entire thing is solved here. And at the same time, there are other events, for example, download, which I explained. So if the file is downloaded, everything is taken care of by Playwright. You just need to call the methods to see it is downloaded or not. No complex coding here. Then if I need to see, for example, when we go to the Wikipedia page, okay. So if you can see my screen, this is a Wikipedia page. And when the Wikipedia page is loaded, so basically this logo, this request, one web request will be sent, API request, to this path. And when this is returning 200 get, that means the logo is received, and then the logo will be loaded. So it is a complex scenario in terms of Selenium. If we try to automate, my use case is I want to wait till this 200 response is returned from this logo API path. Okay. And till then I because when this 200 will appear, then only I will know that yes, definitely the page or the logo is loaded. I can perform other checks then. So this type of actions or events can be tracked, monitored, and configured using Playwright very well. So all the event related issues here, event, as it is event driven architecture, it is resolved. So the common requirement to wait for a particular event to complete, start, etc., those scenarios can be handled easily with Playwright. Playwright allows listening to various types of events happening on the web page, such as network request, creation of child pages, dedicated workers, etc. There are several ways to subscribe to such events using Playwright, such as waiting for the event or adding or removing event listeners. So all these are possible. Next topic I would like to discuss is isolation. So say you have one scenario where there are 10 different users one is super admin, then one is admin, then one is normal user, then one is different user. So all these users are trying to communicate with each other. One good example can be chat applications. So chat applications, what happens? There can be two or multiple users, they are chatting together, right? Now, to automate with Selenium, it is little difficult because you have to configure two different WebDriver instances, and you need to manage those two threads, and you need to synchronize those two threads. So this is very tough and difficult. Here Playwright supports multi-user scenarios. So these chat applications and other scenarios, for example, there is authorization workflow. So some normal user creates a request, it goes to another user, admin user, he then approves it, then the normal user checks the approval is done, and then he closes the browser. So this authorization flow or chat flow where multiple users are involved, Playwright solves that issue with isolation. So isolation is Playwright executes in clean slate environments called browser context, like incognito profiles, and we can have multiple browser context inside the same driver. So one driver, multiple contexts. That means the parent driver is same, using which we can control, and there are two or three or multiple browser contexts that can be simulated as different users. So it can create multiple browser contexts with single scenario. This is useful when you want to test multi-user functionality. And context also can be customized with additional plugins, extensions, profiles, etc. So this is very useful in our day-to-day automation scenario. Now I am almost done. So installation. So Playwright, as we already discussed, is available with multiple language bindings. So here I have mentioned how we can install it using for JavaScript or TypeScript. So we need to have Node.js installed, and so these are the some operating systems which we can use, or system requirements for Playwright. But we need to have Node.js installed, and once that is installed, we can write command npm init playwright latest. So the latest version of Playwright will be installed. Here we need to remember that we need not download any WebDriver server, for example, like in Selenium. Here Playwright will download and manage its own browsers. So we can configure the path and all, but the browsers will be automatically downloaded, and there is no driver server concept. So we can choose between TypeScript and JavaScript at the time of installation. And we can also, for quick start, mention the test folder. And we can also add GitHub actions for CI. And Playwright will install its own browsers. So with this installation, it is quite straightforward. And after the installation, you can directly start running Playwright sample test. With this, I am done with my presentation. So maybe if we have any question, for one or two questions I can take, then we can close.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hi, this is BK. Actually, I want to know whether this Playwright is, I mean, whether the JavaScript along with Playwright is more popular, or TypeScript with Playwright is more popular. I mean, another way. Which is the best
So
scripting? Yeah.
yeah. So to answer your question, so as I hope you already know that TypeScript is a meta language. It's not a different language. It is built on top of JavaScript to support types, right? So Playwright, as it is like, so they are trying to, like, they first create their new uh, features in TypeScript or JavaScript both. Then they migrate to other languages. For example, we have visual testing in JavaScript, which is not available in other language. In future, they will migrate. So both JavaScript and TypeScript is fine. In industry, what is happening? They are currently moving towards TypeScript. So in that way, we can use TypeScript also. But both JavaScript and TypeScript should work, and both are like equal popular. No, like there every
No,
feature you
in
get in
in
TypeScript, you get in JavaScript as well.
no, in
In the
market, which is popular one?
market,
In, yeah.
like for test automation, so we have generally used different tools. Okay, to answer your question in two parts, I will answer. So
Mhm.
we are using other JavaScript tools as well, right? So for that reason, if some JavaScript tools like skills or resources are available, they are going for JavaScript. And if
Okay.
something is getting ready from scratch, and like new UI frameworks, right? So Next.js, all these modern UI frameworks. So if so, they are targeting the as JavaScript and TypeScript are more common. So they are targeting the whatever they have already. So if they have built website in TypeScript, they are going for TypeScript. If they have built in for JavaScript, going for JavaScript. So yes, TypeScript is definitely having little advantage, but JavaScript is also at par. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, you mean to say that to crack the interview, JavaScript is mandatory to proceed further, right? So TypeScript is not mandatory to prepare in the interview.
Yes, so
If someone prepares, yeah.
you can prepare
So
anything in TypeScript also, because TypeScript is, again, I'm saying meta language. Okay, so if you know TypeScript, that means you know JavaScript.
okay, that way, yeah. Okay, okay. How about API without TypeScript is in demand? Is it in demand or how it is?
Using Playwright.
Yes,
Yes,
API
yes.
automation with Playwright.
So to answer the question, so there, like, instead of using multiple tools, if you get the same thing under the same Playwright umbrella, then the framework will be easier, right? So that way, but majorly Playwright is used for UI. But if so, for example, these days, microservice architecture, right? So websites are built in using microservices. So API testing and UI testing are both combined together. So in that way, yes, API is also there, but UI is mostly what Playwright currently is on demand for.
Okay, okay, yeah, sure. Thank you.
No problem.
So just one more question. In this course, are you going to, I mean, teach the TypeScript also, or just the Playwright tool?
So language is the most essential part here. Like, TypeScript itself is a big topic. So maybe the part of TypeScript that is required for Playwright, that we can address, because you can also understand, right? So TypeScript is huge. It is itself an ocean. Okay, right? For example, Java. So Java is also a big topic. But what we need from Java, or what we need from TypeScript to continue our work in Playwright to be at a pro level, that we can do.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we are almost on time. So if we have anything, you don't have anything, we can close this call, I think.